Hey guys, welcome back to another show with Tough Talk with Doc. This episode is going to start off a little slow, but once this gentleman opens up, we get to witness a true giant, a man who understands things that most will never even conceive, lives in a place where love is an option, is the only option. I don't really want to dictate what this guy does and feels, but you're going to be able to look into this episode, listen to it, and you're going to be able to feel the energy that's created from this person's mindset. Joe, ShutterNugs, however you know this person, I did not know this person until this show. And when we started chatting and I got to hear him and then see him, I was literally blown away. You're going to be blown away too. And coming from a place that the things that this show is going to talk about to where I am now, I can't even believe that I even have conversations like I did with Joe, because 6 months ago, my mind wasn't even open to almost like conceiving these kind of things. And now I'm starting to see the light and starting to understand little piece here, a little piece there. And one of the most beautiful things that I've witnessed and felt over the last metamorphosis to evolution of what I'm experiencing has been the people that are put in front of me on this journey. And to celebrate those people and to understand their messages and not take it for granted. And that's been such a lesson. And I think that when you get to check out Joe, and you learn about ShutterNugs, he's way more than a camera. He's way more than a person. He is a fucking giant. And I am so glad that he showed himself to me and you guys. And I think that you're going to have a whole new attitude about Mr. Joe. So, Joe, dude, I seriously love you, brother. I appreciate so much for you coming on the show. And I can't wait for everyone to check it out. Stay tuned. It's dropping now. All right, we got Tough Talk with Doc. My man Joe, also known as ShutterNugs on Instagram, many other names. We won't drop in his stripper name. That's for him. He'll leave that for later for y'all. I think I lost audio. No, we got it. Joe, ShutterNugs, welcome to the show, bro.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you got to come on. We got to work together for a little bit. You got to come to Humble and take some photos. And, dude, I am going to publicly say that you got thrown into a fucking viper pit.
It was a little chaotic.
Yeah.
It was a time of transition for you guys. So
we have been literally transitioning since, like, the start. And we got so, like, out of control and wild and, like, just so into, like, what we want to do and do. It just... we lost touch with like who we really are and how we're really going to do it, and like that mom and pop's feel that we really wanted to throw into it. And you did great work for us. And I wish that my company wasn't so big at that point where I could have like got to spend more time with you and got to know you and like seen like how you ticked and like why you had the talent you do. And like, I know that you have a beautiful family, and like we've shared some moments and we've chatted a little bit, but probably not as good as we should have or could have. So I don't know if it's a sorry, but it's legit. Like I recognized what you were going through, and I'm glad that you and I can sit and have this conversation now, and like the people can get to know you a little bit. And I think this is going to be a fun show. I think it's fun to express art, and it's fun to do it in a way that we can visualize something that and see it and share it in a way that not everybody else can do it. And I think that there's a lot of people doing the photography stuff, and you always captured my eye with your photography, and not because of the nugs, but because of like pictures of people. I think that for me, what I see when I look at your art is I see the capture of a person's emotions or that moment, and you do a great job captivating that. So I just want to start with saying that, like, I recognize your talent, and I think it's amazing, dude. And I know that there's so much more under the skin than the click of the camera and, like, your talent. So, again, welcome to the show. And Let's fucking talk about when you were a little dude. You know what I mean? Like, how did you, tell me about what you used to do. Like, where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Wyndham. I've been in Maine my whole life. Never left the state other than, for trips and stuff like that. So, grew up the son of a fire chief and a school teacher. So very, middle class, municipality, public works type lifestyles. So very anti-weed.
Dad wasn't growing fire. He was putting them out.
Yeah. That was a point of friction in our household. I started smoking pretty young, like into middle school, kind of freshman year high school.
So like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, 14.
I forget the numbers.
15, yeah. Pretty much once I got my hands on it, I knew it was something I needed every day.
Cool.
Kind of slowed down all the gears from turning so fast and made everything a little more enjoyable.
So, like, you're growing up with this teacher mom and this firefighter dad, and, like, you got all this kind of, like, normal life stuff going on. Like, what are you doing? Are you playing video games when you're a kid? You out playing baseball? Like, what were you into when you were just, like, coming up in the game before weed?
Yeah, I mean, I love video games. I played football for, I think, 3 or 4 years, middle school, kind of into high school before I just got very anti-establishment and just kind of wanted to do my own thing. So, I've always enjoyed my solitude. I have a vivid imagination. I can keep myself pretty entertained just in my own dome. So
cool.
But no, I still have some of the same friends that I made in school. Towards the end of our, junior, senior year, we started partying and we found that, that environment, the social constructs, the cliques kind of dissolved and we're all kind of the same animal, you know what I mean?
For sure. Birds of a feather flock together. That is the truest statement I've ever heard. So what are you doing? What are your friends doing when you're after you're like kind of done with sports? You guys, I mean, you're smoking weed. What are you out in the woods? Like fucking skating on the beaches? What are you doing?
A lot of burn cruises back then. A lot of us grew up living with our parents, couldn't smoke in the house, so a lot of driving and smoking, pit parties, camping out in trails, shit like that.
Just fun loving kid shit, dude. Beautiful. Not enough burn cruises anymore.
Sitting around fires at 2, 3 a.m.
Something about sitting around a fire with your friends, eh? It's like sometimes that like moment of silence or those moments of silence when the fire is just crackling and the flames are hot and you can feel it and you don't even have to say to your friends you love them. It's just like it's a vibe that just throws in the air. It's so cool. I enjoy good fire with friends and family.
I think it comes from kind of like an ancestral place. Like it's something we've been doing for generations and eons and eons, So I think it kind of subconsciously brings us back to our roots a little bit.
That primal instincts that we're all born with that we take for granted so much.
Things that unite us.
Fuck yeah. When'd you pick up a camera?
It was actually pretty late. I mean, by most people's standards, I think 2017 probably.
How old are you?
5 years ago. 35 now. So I was 30.
So you're 30 years old.
Yeah, I didn't take any photography classes in school. Didn't grow up around people who, had cameras. It was just something I wanted to capture things the way I saw them. And I felt like, phone only take you so far, especially 5 years ago. Things get better as we go.
Yeah.
So, just self-taught, a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of hanging out with other photographers, learning from them.
What fired up that passion, dude? What bring me to the moment where you're like, dude, I'm going to get a camera.
It feels kind of disingenuous because I'm not really into cars that much anymore, but I used to have a little tuner car, and I was in some car clubs. We'd go to meets, and that's why I wanted my first camera. And, I've got young kids, so, rather than pay someone $300 or $400 to do a little family photo session, I always kind of wanted to learn how to do that myself. Yeah. I've spent more in equipment than I would ever spend paying photographers, but,
I wish Jake was mic'd up. I'm sure he can relate a lot with the photography stuff and the car stuff. I've heard him tell stories about hanging out the windows of his buddy's car, shooting videos and doing wild, crazy shit like that. So
yeah, I used to have a wrist strap that I would attach to my camera, and I would hang out the window doing rollers, and your knuckles are probably like 6 inches off the pavement.
Hold on, I'm just gonna let him sit down and take over the show right now because I know he's got a whole mind full of stuff. Jake's such a good tool for this show, man. He's definitely had a lot of experience like that, especially with photography and in relationship to like what you can experience. I don't know a lot about photography. You know what I mean? I love art, and you know, it's like things are like the tree behind, you know, like it all these little art pieces that remind me of like moments in time, or bring me to a mindset or something like that. I don't understand how to capture it, but like I said earlier, dude, you capture people to a place where it's like they're gonna be on the show, but like I always think about our friend Kat. You have some photographs there. I'm like,
Shout
that
out
kid's
Kat Rooney.
fuck yeah. Shout out Kat Rooney. Cupcakes, cannabis, homies and the homies. Love all of them. Yeah, I remember like when I first like saw your shit, and I was like, wow, he killed that photo. He like that. To capture something like that and people to see it and appreciate it is a whole different fucking thing. And like, so can you see his little rig set up right here? Just come on, Jake. It's hard to get good help around here. Jake, why are you flipping me off, bro?
Just in the eyes.
Just in the eyes. Jake's the man. I give him a lot of shit only because I love him. He's fucking this. I wish we could have a camera. We should have a camera of the whole show. Yeah, like on your forehead or something. Jake runs around like in the background, like moving shit, touching cameras. You can only shoot a camera for 30 minutes, right, Jake?
All of them are different.
All of them are different. So he's fucking
15 minute, 40 minute, 20 minute.
15 minute. I can't repeat it. The dude's magic. Good thing he's wiry. You live, bro?
That works.
Ish. I don't hear you. This is important to get Jake in here because to help me understand and to help everyone else out there understand the abilities that you have as a photographer, and just to be able to walk into that place after deciding to do it without any formal education. Like who are the people that taught you? Like who are the people that you like really respect in the game?
It's hard to say. I mean, it depends on what medium of photography I've been doing at the time. You know, like I said, I started with cars. I don't really remember, you know, automotive photographers that I followed. You know, I remember following a lot of portrait photographers when I started doing that. I can't really remember any of their handles or anything like that.
No worries.
But, you know, we pull inspiration from everywhere, and I think it's important to, you know, if you're a creative person and you're in a creative art form, to surround yourself with like-minded people, because you inspire each other. You kind of level up a notch when you're around people like that. So
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Wonderfully.
Test.
You're here, Jake. Welcome, Jake.
I've always enjoyed the way I get to kind of tap into my creative energy through photography. I think that's really important for people to have an outlet for that energy. It's kind of what brings back that childhood joy, you know, that thirst for life. So that's something I've been really grateful for, with the opportunity to not only do it as a hobby, but at different times, you know, do it professionally and make a living out of it, you know.
How do people find you if they want to check out your stuff?
ShutterNug _207 on Instagram. That's pretty much it.
Cool. We'll make sure we drop a link so people can find you and
Follow Hiker Trash's accounts. I do a lot of photography for them. So
cool.
Send me some of your some stuff to put into the show too, and we'll put it right into the visual of it.
will do.
So you're shooting cars back in the day. Now you're gonna let's go to like now, right? You're grabbing your camera. You're going out. You're not gonna shoot beautiful hash rosin for Hiker Trash, or you're not gonna do these kind of things. Where's your heart?
Nature. Yeah, I've kind of rediscovered a real affinity for nature. Just everything that goes on kind of under the surface of the ground, and just how resilient nature is, how you can kind of tap into that cohesive energy that exists within nature. And you know, I'm big on elevated states of consciousness. I feel like that's kind of how we get back to like that one consciousness. I think that flows all throughout nature. I think the vibration's there.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I don't get to do it often, but you know, I love just taking pictures of different things I find in nature that kind of catch my eye and kind of show me what I'm thankful for.
Wow, that's a beautiful segue for us to just say thank you for Mother Nature and that healing power that it does, like bringing us back. We've talked about already the primal factor, the just getting in tune with Mother Nature and the healing properties that it has, and celebrating it. It's just not done enough. And dude, thank you for reminding me to stay in that focus, because that's so important. Jake, what about your Mother Nature? You're a bushwhacking crazy bastard. I mean, I don't even. Jake goes into like northern Maine where the moose are scared, and he spends like a week out there, and he chops through jungles of Maine to get a photograph of a moose eating some water.
Or not.
Or not.
Usually not.
To maybe get a photograph.
Are you fucking with that shit or no? Is he crazy?
Yeah, what type of nature stuff are you shooting?
I'm a pretty lazy fan of nature. I'm really fortunate to live in a space right now that's surrounded by nature, and I'm kind of immersed in nature right from the backyard. So very grateful for that. But I'm a pretty lazy hiker. I'm not as physically fit as I once was, so I tend to enjoy nature from a point of comfort.
Are you doing like landscape stuff typically, or
more detail shots? You know what I mean, like the dew on a flower leaf or something like that. If I can get it, different kinds of butterflies,
nice.
Different kind of bugs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I try to have a gratitude for the full scope of what exists out there.
Nice.
Have you ever got to look under a microscope and look at soil biology?
And see all the microbial life. And stuff like
Holy fuck, bro.
Yeah.
The living shit that is in soil is incredible. Protozoa, nematodes, like fungus, like, yeah.
I was just down to Sebago Lake a couple weekends ago, and even just like the ecosystem of the lake, feeling the kind of lake moss beneath my feet and seeing the different little things floating around, flying around, the spiders, the flies, it's a self-sustaining system that creates itself, sustains itself, balances itself, and
beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Do you have any children?
Two daughters.
Two daughters. Children are such a blessing, dude. We were talking about water and celebrating water and shit like that, and we're sitting around a fire with some friends, and one of my buddies looks over to my 5-year-old and says, "What kind of water do you like to drink?" You know what she says? Real water. And if you think about that, right? Like, a lot of us don't even understand what real water is. Like you're saying, you're feeling the moss between your foot. Like, all of that is creation from real living water, the real regenerative cycle. And that is, I've been learning about this a lot lately, and it's amazing.
Precedes us.
It creates us.
Yeah.
We're mostly water. If we're dead, disgusting, stagnant water, that's going to be what we produce.
It all started in water, and then an eel grew legs, and then here we are.
You think we're eels? I'm not challenging this. I'm just asking.
I read something recently based on, some vertebrae they examined. That was the earliest link to upright hominoids, and I get deep into that shit. I like to geek out on it. That's kind of my Sunday reading, scrolling on the phone.
Jake might be an eel.
Do you know about the eel life cycle?
Oh my God, here we go.
They're fascinating.
They are?
They all breed at the same place off the coast of Madagascar, and they're all bred with the same DNA, and their journey to their end place creates the type of eel that they are.
Whoa.
I might be wrong on that. We'll probably get corrected. But
somebody's going to hate on you.
Yeah.
Stupid. That's not
all the
how it happens.
elvers and stuff, that's them ending up in their final...
How long does an eel live for?
I don't know.
Quite a while, I think.
Yeah.
At what point does an eel grow legs and arms and smoke joints?
They don't need them. They'll just
About
slither
350,000 years ago.
They'll stay out of the water for days.
Oh my God.
If you keep it in a bucket for a few days,
I thought we were monkeys, dude. What happened to monkeys? I like monkeys.
What about a monkey eel?
Oh my God. Did the eel turn into a monkey?
Yeah, it was a step along the path.
Yeah.
No shit.
Little tadpole.
We all started in water, all of life.
That's some awesome shit. We
all started in the ocean.
To touch on what you said about looking at microscope stuff, I think we've all kind of noticed it that have shot weed up close, is that you get to these points of magnification or expansion and it starts looking the same. a macro of trichomes looks like trees or like a full canopy, really.
Underneath the microscope, we're all molecules and isotopes.
Exactly. Yeah. You get to this thing and you're like, holy shit, it looks like we were just looking at again, but a little different. You know, I've always had the idea of making a forest out of trichomes, and I feel like anybody that looks at trichomes is like, oh, put people in there, and you know.
That'd be fucking sick, dude. We should make a little trichome forest and hang out.
Working on it.
The healing power of the ganja. I love it. I love it so much. The more we can educate ourselves on the powers of the herb, cannabis, and every other herb that is out there. There's so much healing power in plants itself. It's amazing. And I'm not saying we have to smoke them all because we only got so much time to smoke. But
only the good ones.
Only the good ones.
So when you got a camera, how long did it take you to like hit that click point with it, where you were like,
Probably
not
like 6
necessarily
months.
the mechanics, but figuring out your look of it, if that makes sense?
I was probably on the auto setting for the first 2-3 months.
Yep.
Really intimidated by, ISO and
Right.
white balance and shutter speed and all that. So it took me a little while to start actually learning what the settings do and, getting the most out of the camera. And then, within the first 6 months, 8 months, I think I got to a point where, I had a little Canon T3i. It's a pretty starter camera, really basic. And I just felt like I was getting to a point where that was only going to do so much for me. And I knew that I was kind of being limited technologically. So that's when I went to the Sony mirrorless setup.
Gotcha. What are you using for lenses?
For all my
It's
macro
like lights
work,
and ballasts for...
pretty much the hardware, yeah. For most of my macro work, I've got the Sony 90mm 2.8 G series, and then for my kind of all-around lens, I've got a 28 to 75, I think, Tamron 2.8.
Nice.
Really capable lens. It does most of what I need when I'm not doing the up close stuff, and then I've got a 24mm 1.4 GM series prime. And that's my most expensive lens, and I hardly ever use it.
Yeah.
We need like a little what's that dude? Like Tool Time with Tim Taylor.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I know so little about this stuff, and it's so interesting that a different lens and a different. I mean, I can't even like wrap my head around how a lens changed. I mean, maybe you can help like me understand like why would you change a lens?
Be like changing bulbs. You know what I mean? Different lenses have different strengths and weaknesses, different purposes. A wider lens is going to be probably better for things like indoors where you're limited on space, how much you can back up. But that's not going to be necessarily great for a product shot. You're trying to capture fine details.
Gotcha.
So, every lens has a purpose. It has a, I'd have more lenses if I could afford it, but Sony lenses are pretty expensive.
Jake has a slimming lens on my camera because I want to keep it
I'm on the fashion
Yeah,
lens.
just turn it off every now and then. Sorry about that, guys.
Dude, what?
So you're doing video stuff too?
Hey, this is my fucking show. You better back
tell
up,
me
all
to
right,
wake
buddy?
up, baby.
Listen, don't come at me, all right? Just because you don't get
Entertainment.
excited now because you got the remote, okay?
Sit down.
All right, I'm back.
It's funny, actually, working with Doc, what was it, a year and a half ago, is when I started to get into doing more video. That was something that you pushed me to kind of get my feet into, and I still feel really novice with it, and I'm still a student of the art, but, trying to do a little more video to kind of highlight what they're doing over there.
It looks good. I was peeking through your profile, and I don't know. I've been more like filmish than video-ish, and I feel like you're good at like. What do you want to say?
I mean, it's your show now.
It is Tough Talk with Jake.
There's a mutiny
Nah,
happening.
this is just me fucking with Jake.
No, but there's certain editing styles that I stray from, and I think they're a little bit more like urban culture-y, I'm very more like set up my shot and showcase my shot for 30 seconds, and nobody wants to look at it because they're like, it's a 30-second shot instead of slice.
Do you ever feel
Which I
like
like
people
in
don't
others.
appreciate it enough when you do something like Jake's always bitching? He's like, I put like so much love into that, and then all of a sudden I got like 4 likes.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we put ourselves out there, you know, we all kind of crave
That's not
the
what
same.
you sound like, bro. It's way
the
worse.
Same validation, but you know, you've got to kind of create that internally. You've got to know that what you're putting out is good enough for your standard, and not hang on to the
You
opinions of others too
Jake.
much.
Tell that to Jake because he's like in a moment. He needs some therapy right now. Maybe you do like one artist to another artist.
Turn your back to me, motherfucker.
I remember, you know, seeking a little more feedback when I was on the Humble Crew. That was one thing that I was seeking a little more.
Proper feedback is worth its
input,
weight in
yeah.
gold.
But I think that's normal.
Yeah.
It happens.
With
In a
Yeah,
lot.
you were
I'm
always
sure
like,
growers
dude,
are used to that too.
you're always like, tell me, what can I do more? I want to know. Like,
Yeah, is
what
it
are you
good?
looking
Is it
for?
bad?
I'm like, yo, just keep going. Like, explore. Just anything that's what I always tell to a lot of my employees and the people that work for me. It's like, I hate when I hire somebody and I have to like tell them, like, I see that you have this passion. I see that you had this fucking ability. And the reason I asked you to come to the team was not because I wanted you to sit behind a booth and take a nug shot. I think that each individual person that works for a company brings a level of their own personal vision to it and their art. And it's hard for me to tell a photographer how to be a photographer. Like, dude, I want pictures of everything. Shoot everything. Whatever inspires people, you know? So I remember having those conversations with you, and I was like, dude, do video. And you're like, I don't do video. I'm like, yeah, I'm paying you to learn. Do it. Like, go, get it. Like, just shoot some shit and work it. Like, challenge yourself. And
It's intimidating to be bad at something. And when you're new to something, you have to be bad before you can be good.
yeah.
So, you know, with photography, if I have a certain, you know, image in my head, I can usually create close to that image in a quality that I feel proud about. But with video, you know, I really had to kind of just put together some not great content just to get stronger at it. So I was a little intimidated by that at first.
So awesome that it's to identify that shit. You already beat the beast. Most people are like, I can't do it. They don't even realize that they're just fearing the fact that it could be sucky. But the thing is if you start at the top, where are you going to go, right? Like, you got to learn to walk before you crawl before you walk, all these walk before you run, all these analogies that we use. And it's so important that you just touched on that too, because even though your thing might not be video, just to try something different is always important in life. Just to try it, to broaden our horizons is fucking so valuable. What besides photography wakes you up every day? What gets you going? What are you rolling out of bed for, bro?
It's a good question. I wasn't prepared to answer it.
Good. I like these questions.
Yeah, I kind of take every day as it comes to me. You know what I mean? I wake up with, I try to wake up with an openness, you know, with a receptiveness to whatever the day brings. And yeah, I try not to pre-negotiate or, you know, attach to an image of the future or what it's going to look like. I try to just stay grounded in the present moment as much as I can.
Wow. Dude, you're a pretty powerful thought process, bro. Like that shit doesn't come to everybody, and to understand that just to float in the universe and just to be free and just to enjoy every moment is pretty powerful, dude. You should give yourself a pat on the back, bro. And I love your view, and thank you for sharing all this shit with us, because God, man, it's some powerful stuff, dude. Just like the things that you've said today, just about being in nature and wow, it's crazy. I'm kind of blown away right now, Joe. I'm glad we got to sit and do this, because I didn't understand this about you before, and I probably honestly was not in a place to even have a conversation about it. I think that evolution and people changing is one of the biggest celebrations I have now for myself and for other people. So, dude, again, thank you for sharing this shit with us.
Yeah, I'm just a student of life, you know.
But what wakes you up, dude? When you want to be floating, but when you wake up in the morning or when you're going to bed at night, like being appreciative of things and things like that. But like myself, I wake up every single day and I think, I'm going to piss off Jake today.
Can I repack your question
Pack
for
it
a
up.
creative? Because I think that's what makes you tick, right? Is creating to a, I don't know. You're giving me nothing in your face right now. You're not even looking at me.
Not necessarily. No, I mean, just I get my sense of value from the impact that I can have on others, and if I can use my creativity to do that, great. If I'm doing that through manual labor, helping someone accomplish a goal, that's great. If it's through, giving someone a space to listen and to be present with them and make them feel supported, that's something I take a lot of pride in. It's just providing as much positive energy to the lives around me as I can, and that's kind of what I set out to do every day. To not absorb negativity and just to be, to be the positivity that I've always craved.
I like that.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I don't even need to repackage it. My repackage would have been dumb after that.
I can't wait tomorrow. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and just think about how much I'm gonna piss you off again.
That's fine.
Dude.
That's fine. I guess I could still ask my question in the same regard though. Like I think one of the beauties of weed, and I think every photographer that I'm talking to in the industry right now is getting a little sick of the return on nug shots, so to speak. Like, they have their place, and showcasing genetics in the industry is huge, but in a long-term, long-play marketing standpoint, like, you have them in your arsenal and you should reuse those shots, not be getting new ones and putting a ton of money into that. I think that's kind of what Doc touched on with you shooting people, and it's something that brought this show together in a degree for me, is I was sick of shooting stuff that wasn't creating community, culture, all of that type of stuff. I guess if you had like carte blanche on that and somebody was like, here you go, have at it, how would you be like driving a brand's creative essence in 2022?
It's a good question.
It's a loaded one too, without a little bit of time to think about it, I think. But
yeah, I think I just try to use my creativity to you touched on it earlier, just to capture things in a way that represents the subject and my creative style. So I try to keep it authentic. That's something I've struggled with in this industry, is not to take it to a negative place, but not everything is going to be authentic, especially when there's commercial involved, there's commerce, there's money involved, things are a business. So I've always struggled with that, with doing things that just didn't feel genuine or authentic to me, and didn't feel like something I identified with or aligned with, whether it comes to the personalities that I work with or the quality of the medicine that I'm photographing. Yep. I feel
like every photographer in the industry has been there.
So again, I'm just really grateful.
You show up and you're like, what did I sign up for?
I don't like
clean your fans.
I don't like representing anything that I wouldn't use myself.
100%.
So that comes with a price tag. It's hard to survive on the art form if you're too attached to your integrity.
Right.
So it's a balancing act, but I've always just tried to stay aligned with my path and see where it takes me, and I'm grateful for where it's taken me in this industry, in this art form. The different energies and personalities I've had the opportunity to connect with. I'm very grateful.
For how long you've been shooting, that shines in your work, I think. I've always struggled with like connecting people with what I want to shoot in an extent. Like, I'll sit there and shoot a landscape all day, but like, it seems like you can go into a greenhouse with somebody, understand what keeps them there, and it shows in your work,
Yeah, typically, I've always felt like the quality of my work kind of hinges on the exchange of energy between myself and my subject, whether it's medicine. Typically, if I'm more passionate about the medicine, that's going to come across in my work. If I'm just forcing myself to press the button, I have a hard time creating the same quality of work across the board. But, especially when it comes to people, if you have a genuine connection with someone, you're kind of vibrating similarly, you're going to capture that, and it's going to come across. And if someone's really uncomfortable or, you're just not meant to, share that creative space, that can come across too. So kind of a double-edged sword.
Is that something that you brought from prior to photography and all that? Like, that's not short-term knowledge, I don't think. That's like I don't know. Is that from
I would say
doing hallucinogenics with your friends over time?
just by myself. No, I'm a big believer in. I try to be careful how I talk about this subject, but I'm a big believer in the therapeutic capabilities of psychedelic compounds. I think that they represent an opportunity for a lot of people to change their perspective. Some people get very stuck in their kind of tunnel vision point of view, ego driven, if you will, and to be able to kind of experience empathy on a really deep level, experience elevated states of consciousness, where you feel, really tapped into the things beyond yourself. I think that can really change the way people think and perceive the world around them. So it's kind of taught me to be grateful and stay present. That's been a big challenge for me. A lot of this perspective that I have and the way that I approach life comes from a place of, experiencing hardships or trauma. So to have the opportunity to think differently, approach life differently, and, stay in a more grounded place, I'm really grateful for that.
Wow, dude. I can't believe the wisdom that's been flowing out of you in this show. We thought Dennis was on some.
I know.
Well, wow.
I just smoked a lot today.
Wow, dude. You should keep smoking and keep talking because what you're saying is like literally, dude, it's fucking magic, dude. Like it's the shit that people strive to understand and you're just like flowing with it. Like, congratulations, bro. You've like...
I just try to stay away from like the Timothy Leary, like let's dose the water supply mentality. Let's try to stay clear of that. But
or not.
I think everything we need exists. Whether it's internally, for a long time, like we kind of talked about the craving approval when you create things. We crave a lot of external validation. We crave acceptance and love, and we can find a lot of that internally, and when you learn to kind of cultivate that within yourself, it makes you a lot more self-reliant and kind of takes away that codependent factor. So I've been working on that for the past couple of years, really kind of making that my intention to create a more harmonious environment within myself.
You're having a bad day.
Still happens, yeah.
Right? Fucking shit's hitting the fan.
Mm-hmm.
You're always striving to be this harmony and this energy, and how do you stop and slow that down for somebody like that's new to this, like myself, that's trying to understand this kind of situation, and I'm freaking out because everything's going to shit and I'm trying to be the best that I can, and what do you do? Where do you go?
You just have to sit with it. You have to I think that growth comes from learning how to experience negative feelings without having a negative reaction. And I was a very reactive person when I was younger. Very, projected a lot of my internal feelings externally on people around me and stuff like that. So learning how to kind of sit with those feelings allows you to examine them from a deeper level. And that's how you kind of get to the root. Okay, I'm anxious, but I'm anxious because I'm afraid of what could go wrong. Well, what could go wrong? It doesn't matter. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So by dreading this potential outcome, I'm creating an uncomfortable moment in the present when really everything's fine right now. But it's a long process. You know what I mean? It's taken me years to kind of get to this point, and I do still have bad days. But my bad days now aren't what my bad days were before, and that's kind of where you have to acknowledge your growth.
Wow. Incredible, dude. That's the celebration of not living in fear and an ego-driven thought process is like fucking exactly what I'm trying to accomplish and be every single second. And I think most people are that are trying to do something different with their life. Living in fear instead of truly loving with true intention and living like this. Jake, dude, this has been literally the whole, almost every show that we've had, Joe. I don't know if you haven't even seen most of this. We've only released 2. So in almost every single show, you're tapped into it 100%. Like literally what we've talked about in every show. Like this whole tough talk thing is like, it's been so awesome because on this journey for me personally, like trying to let go of exactly what you just said, like not living like this and changing the thoughts and doing all these things and letting it go and sitting in these emotions, dude. Like I met the people at Nature Summit and look at my arms, like again, like with the realness and dude, I experienced like these mental changes and emotions that I've never felt in years because I've lived in this blockade and like accepted things and lived with what I only knew to be true, which was my anger and living in fear. And I've exploring emotions from birth of my children to death of my closest relatives, like releasing of like just almost crying, but not crying for sadness or joy or like expressing and living in these moments and truly appreciating them is better than any drug I've ever done, including LSD and acid and mushrooms and weed and all that shit, because that's the purity of it all, dude. And dude, thank you so much for like reminding me again, like you're like a fucking wizard, bro. Like seriously, like you're like literally a wizard. Like did anybody know this shit? Did it like how where does I had you here for talking about pictures, dude, and your like energy is like this a fucking mountain, brother. Like you are, wow. Holy cow, thank you. Like I got goosebumps like firing out of me right now. This is incredible, dude. We got to get this boy on a show. He got to get his own show.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of why I wanted to come on. You know, I could tell that you were kind of at a different place.
Dude, I love you, bro.
Together.
Thank you for so much, man. Thank you so much. I am so glad that like we had that whole experience with me at like working and like, fuck that. Like, dude, you are a fucking wizard, bro. You are magic, dude. Thank you. I truly love you, bro, as a person and as a fucking brother, man. That is incredible, dude. You are magic. Wow. I'm fucking blown away. This ain't even tough talk no more. Take it away, Jake. No, hey, listen, is there anything else you want to add to this? We're going to bring in your friends, my friends. Like, we're going to shoot a little collab show together today with Hiker Trash. Anything you want to drop? I mean, God, give us some more, bro. Like, anything else you want to add to this?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I can top that. So... no, I mean, I just,
I could like show you my heart. It was like, wow, dude.
I grew up, you know, learning that men are stoic and don't really express feelings and emotions. So, you know, you kind of touched on that a couple minutes ago about letting yourself feel things, you know, not attaching to a specific state of thought or feeling and just kind of allowing yourself to wade through whatever the current is at the time. You know, it's been a challenging process. You know, I'm where I am today, and I'm still growing. I'm still trying to allow myself to evolve the way that I'm meant to, and making sure that I feel aligned with the path that I'm on and that it's authentic to me. So it's not an easy journey, but it's the right journey. You know, it's my journey. So again, I just try to stay in a state of constant gratitude for where I'm at, the opportunities I've been afforded. I get to still be around a plant that I've loved for the past 20 years every day, you know, and experience nature on a level I never have. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. Wow. So
I would normally ask people, what are you going to be when you grow up? But, dude, if anybody has a question on what he's going to be when he grows up, you haven't been paying attention. So go back, rewind, start this shit over again, and get a notebook, write some shit down because you need to hear this. Wow. Thank you again, brother, for coming on, dude. And like, wow. Thank you everyone for tuning into this. Like this has been such a magical episode for me. And like, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I can't wait to bring in our friends Hiker Trash and just get back into this shit and just keep digging at this because, man, this is crazy.
Appreciate the opportunity, man.
Thank you, brother. Wow. Give me a hug, motherfucker.